All right, try to listen up and see if we can be funny.
Let me... we should...
You know, every year, people wait for this special season. A season of lights and warm colors. It's a season of trees. It's a season of tinsel and gifts. Gifts that you don't deserve. Gifts that maybe you can't even afford, but you get them for others because you want others to be happy and to be satisfied. And you want to feel as though you've left somebody with something a little bit more than they had just a moment earlier. And when I think of all the amazing gifts that you could give to your friends, to your family, to your coworkers, to your boss, to your mailman, to your plumber, and your sewage engineer, I think to myself, dare I tell them that nothing, and I mean nothing, could change their life, enrapture their spirit, and put them into that good festive mood that everybody needs after a year and a half of fake pandemic. And again, with Christmas just around the corner, I don't care what they get or what package they don't get to open. They won't worry one bit or concern themselves as long as they get the package of the Brad Stine Show. Hit it, Waddy! Well, it is Monday. It is the week before Christmas. It is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is the Brad Stine Show, brought to you by Christian Podcast Central, where every Christian that's ever had a podcast, dreamed of a podcast, or wanted to create a podcast, centralized it into one big giant matrix. And then he sent it off through the Ethernet, and there it landed in the pocket of Christian Podcast Central to be distributed to all the people that want to mock and defame those of us who believe in God. Also, this is brought to you by Glockstore.com. With just a few days left till Christmas, if you need a much quicker, smoother trigger, Glockstore.com can make your Glock even better than it was just moments before. So, go to Glockstore.com. Hey, folks! It is exciting time. I'm glad to be back with you guys. It is me, God's Comic Brad Stine. I am sitting here with my son, my very own son, my one and only son. And the reason that we find him to be especially unique, especially a participant, a partner in this beautiful season of not only Christmas, but just podcastians, is that he is running the board. He's looking up, any comments, but most importantly, he likes to be known as Wyatt, the sidekick. Wyatt, how are you? How you been doing? And how are those hemorrhoids?
Well, the hemorrhoids thing, I mean, that's not going to go away anytime soon. So
No!
I'm just living with that.
Is that why you're not sitting? You're hanging from a trapeze? See, this was something I wasn't suspecting. I thought, well, maybe he's just trying to liven things up, keep me on my toes.
Nope, hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Do what you need to do, son. I've always taught you that, my son. Do what you need to do. And when it comes to hemorrhoids, my Lord, just take a load off, if you know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, my day has been interesting.
Tell me about it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. If you're brand new to the show, you need to understand that the Brad Stine Show is conservatism, Christianity, and capitalism in a cacophony of clarity. So that's what you're going to get. Some laughs, some fun, some insight, maybe a few tears, maybe some inspiration. But you need to know something about my son Wyatt. Him wanting to be my sidekick, wanting to be able to fully produce this show and turn it into the juggernaut that it's soon to become. You'd think that'd be enough for him, but it's not. My son has a side hustle. He works at Lowe's. Now, I know what you're thinking to yourself. Seriously, Brad Stine, God's coming. No, really, what does he really do? No, he works at Lowe's. No, I got it the first time. But seriously, what does he do for a living? He works at Lowe's. So, son, I'm hoping and praying for all my great people that come and show up every week that this is a Lowe's story.
It is.
Oh, Lord, buckle your seatbelts, and if you don't have seatbelts, you can get some at Lowe's. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Okay, actually, no, we can't. We discontinued those. But
You discontinued the seatbelts?
But aside from that,
Lord have
so
mercy. What has the world come to?
I go into my shift this morning.
Yes.
And my manager wants to have a little one-on-one talk with me.
Oh, my Lord.
So
when you've been dressed down at Lowe's, it can't sink any worse other than being in a flop house in your own vomit. Go ahead, Wyatt. What happened?
So she gave me an envelope with my name on it and said Merry Christmas. So I was figuring, oh, a little Christmas bonus or something. That's cool.
Nice.
So when I got home a few hours before this podcast, I decided, I wonder what they got me. So I opened it up, and it's a, Christmas card you can find at Walmart for like 12 cents.
Okay.
But there was something in that card, and that was the gift.
Yeah.
So what Lowe's apparently considers to be a appropriate Christmas gift is a $1 holiday-themed scratch-off lottery ticket.
Oh.
Look, I'm not going to say that there is any wrong way to gift someone something. But $1, you couldn't have showed up for the $2 one at least.
Right, you would think. But, Lowe's is filled with folks that are, just draining them of every dime they have because there's so many that need these little scratch and sniffs. Well, why do you want to try to scratch it off while we're here?
That's what I'm here for. But as I'm doing this, I just want to point out that I work at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just give me a Lowe's gift card?
I'll bet they could have got it
at least stay thematic with your establishment or something.
Okay, so what have you got so far? Anything?
The winning number was a 14.
Okay.
And I got...
Yes? Yeah?
Okay.
Wouldn't this be amazing if he hits the jackpot right here live on the Brad Stine Show? Wyatt, how much did you win? Wyatt? Come on, how much did you win, son?
I'm scratching.
Okay, keep scratching. Keep scratching. I should have brought up the hemorrhoids earlier, should I? It doesn't fit well with the scratching. Go ahead, son. What have you got? Anything?
Hold on.
He's still scratching.
This is a really hard scratch off.
Doesn't it come with like a wrench or something from Lowe's that would
We're out of wrenches. How many times do I need to tell you that?
All right, fine. Well, listen, while he's scratching, I'm going to say hello to Rebecca Daly-Dwyer from Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. Guess who else is here? Samuel Dion. God bless you, Brad, and Merry Christmas. Amen. Karen Boyd's here. Merry Christmas, Brad, Wyatt. Everyone, hello, Cara. And she's made it, and she's only number 2. That's good. Forrest Bainey's here. Rebecca already said that. Samuel Dion said that. Merry Christmas, Brad, White, and family. Stan Stinson, Karen, Dara, Shauna Frederick. Napa, Idaho's here. Hey, Napa, love Idaho. Who else is there? Patricia Freeman, Patty Lester Freeman in Harker Heights, Texas. Good to have you. Rhonda Stone Baxter's here from Arkansas. Let's see. My feed is not skipping tonight. Yay, good job, Wyatt. Karen said her feed is not skipping tonight. Then she gave you credit for that. Did we ever want to bring up the fact that it was probably Karen forgetting to turn on the on switch?
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Karen is a very...
Say it.
Very...
Say it. Yes.
So about this toad I just...
Yes. What'd you win?
Let's just put it to you this way.
Yeah.
The nickel I used to scratch it off was worth more than the ticket.
Man. Oh, well, you tried, son. What I like about the story is she took him aside surreptitiously, like she really... Listen, don't let anybody else in on this. You've been such a wonderful... Over here in the corner. Listen, most of these people, I got a 50-cent card, but you wrench finder, I got you a $1 card.
I can imagine opening up a trench coat like, hey, want to buy a Scotch?
Hey, Michelle Goretz here, and she said, evening blessings, Brad. Deanna Miller, hi, Deanna. Tanami off at Alwyn's here. Barbara Duvall, hey, Barbara. She comes all the time. Thomas Bench sent me some stars. Woohoo! Merry Christmas from Massachusetts, George D. Sorry you're in Massachusetts, but thanks for joining us, George. Merry Christmas all. Marvin Jones, Mike McCormick's here. He's in Nashville, so am I. Jason Copenhaver, Thomas Bench, Steve Whaley, Nick Cress Wyatt and the Musical Wrenches. Nick is way below this one this time. That's not like Nick. He must have had a blow to the head. Kevin Sandlin's here. Virginia Minster. Wayne Bear Foge. Yes, sir. Kit Kat Sparrow way down there, but she's with us. God bless you. Who else is here? Dwayne Brotwall. Yes. Dwayne Brotwall said, is Wyatt wearing his vest? Wyatt, are you wearing your vest?
They wouldn't let me take it out.
They don't let you take it out? They're afraid somebody might abuse the vest or use it in some untoward way that shouldn't be utilized for a Lowe's vest?
Okay, you laugh at that, but that's actually like an actual concern.
Is that right?
Yeah. People dress up as the Lowe's employees. And
you know what Wayne Bear Fawn said, Wyatt the Sidekick, God's comic soon to be competition. If you spend any time listening to my sidekick, you'll know that competition is not one word we're going to be attaching to Wyatt. He's my son. There's a reason why he's below me. He came from my loins. Teresa Gramer's here. Jim Brownall.
See, you're still milking that joke.
Okay, I think we could use a better metaphor, son. But anyways. Paula Faye Marie Rauchi, Andrew George, Evan Lechelt. Hey, Queensland, Australia. How you doing, Dan? Thanks for showing up, brother. Hope you're doing well. I feel so sorry for Australia. If you guys have any heart left that's watching my show, pray for Australians because the entire continent was created as a police state where all the criminals from Britain were sent there to populate the place, and they apparently reverted back to it because everybody's a prisoner in Australia. God bless you, son. Let's see, who else is there? Ron Dudek is here. Finally back in the U.S. and back to Brad Stine. Hey, Devin Van O, I didn't know you were not in the U.S. You must have gone to Canada and were trapped! I hope you brought some molasses back. Stan Sin says they must be saving those shareholders like me money. He's a shareholder in Lowe's. All right. Austin Dale's from here from Florida. Chris Feltonhouse, Washington State. Yeah. Georgia's here with Dave Pickering. Let's see. I got one once from Faith Connell. Also got once somebody gave her a scratch-off card too. My son, by the way, who should be manning the board or is talking funny, pithy comments, is still reading the back of it to see if maybe he missed something and somehow he made a buck.
Like maybe there's some fine print or something. Yeah. Like anything.
Hey Wyatt, Mike McCormick said I am awesomely funny. Now listen, is that a good thing or a bad thing to be awesomely funny?
In the hierarchy, it's somewhere between superbly funny and catastrophically funny. It's somewhere in between those two.
James Harris had an insight. He said maybe you should just scratch your head trying to figure out who came up with the idea at Lowe's.
Well,
scratching that.
You see, the thing is, that's...
Hold it! Eddie Del Palacio's here from Vancouver, Canada. We'd come to save you if we could, but we can't get across the border. We're not vaccinated. We're not wearing masks. In other words, we're free people. Sorry, Canada. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Anyway,
yeah.
I was going to say I can't really do that because that's not much of an idea that they came up with. They just sort of threw a dart at a dartboard of bad ideas and picked the one it landed on.
Indeed. James Holman's here from Indiana. I'm a fellow Hoosier. Good to see you, sir. Linda Williams is here. Ron Bloch is here. Tony Grissom Jolly is here. Phil DeSmet. Let's see. I saw you were first, Nick. When you're driving home from work on a dimly lit road and nearly hit a real non-decorated Christmas tree in the road. Faith Connell. Wow. The loins, milking, laugh out. Did you have to bring it back up? I thought it would pass. Crying out loud.
It's bad enough when he does it, okay? We don't need you all joining in on the fun.
Yes. Let's see. Corrig from Redlands, California is there. Listen, Redlands, Clifford, Cargley, Johnny. I'm going to be in Fresno January 2nd performing. Come on down. South Africa in the house. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's getting worse.
Okay.
South Africa, Canada, Australia. Don't blame us. You are the ones mocking us for having guns. You mocked us. Oh, we've sold laws back. We're not crazy. Backwards, Philistines like you Americans that want to keep your guns. Now you're locked down. Can't get out of your place. They're going to take every shot they demand you take, and you can't eat unless you wear a suit of armor. But we're the idiots, right? What's it feel like now? Why should we say na 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 na?
Well, it would be appropriate in this case.
It would be.
So also, Karen has come up to enlighten us.
What'd she say?
So, you know that comment about you being awesomely funny?
Yes.
Apparently, that was just making fun of the fact that you have a very big issue with using awesome incorrectly.
I do. I think it's an overused word and shouldn't be used whatsoever.
I think it's awesome.
Wyatt, that was so obvious. Bill Whitaker, Oswego, New York, headed to the Bronx, delivering animal crackers in my tractor trailer. We have an animal cracker deliverer watching us while delivering animal crackers. We got a guy in his truck somehow watching us. Now, delivering animal crackers is classic. I love that. God bless you for doing that. But he's watching us at the same time. Wyatt, is that frightening you?
They deliver animal crackers? Excuse me, I need to go.
What do you mean, do they deliver? No, the animals walk there themselves, son.
No. What I'm getting it as, you don't go to a store to get animal crackers. No. You email them, and they send Bob the delivery guy.
They're making fun of him. They said, make a huge nativity scene with all the animal crackers. Oh, wow. Faith is unvaccinated, not vaccinated either. Kit Kat Sparrow. And Ron said, I'm impressed you pronounced it in the German way. It's because I'm a Stein!
That's German for... What's that German for?
It's because I'm a Stein.
It's because he's a Stein.
Yes, but in a German voice. Yeah. Well, listen, folks. I wanted to say hi to you. I want to say thank you. It is, in fact, the Christmas season. It is, in fact, the Christmas time frame. It is, in fact, the time when we remember the Savior born under a star with the wise men. And last week, I talked to you guys about the fact that I was getting a lot of heat. Wyatt, I don't know if you heard this or read this. A lot of Christians out there, or people of the Christian affinity, or at least they say so, and I'm not questioning that. I don't know if they're believers or not. They say they are. But they were saying that you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. Do you know why?
No, I do not know why.
They said because it's a pagan holiday.
Ah, that I heard, yes.
Okay. Do you know why they say it's a pagan holiday, Wyatt? Why don't you give us your thoughts and insights? Why do you think they're saying that?
Because the pagans invented it?
Well, maybe. Do you know any pagans?
What's a pagan?
Okay.
I don't know. I've heard that term so many times that I never actually thought to look it up.
I don't want to use my son as my researcher, clearly.
I'm fine.
Every time I give him a shot at redeeming himself intellectually, he buries himself. Actually, the thing that was most compelling to him was the animal crackers. He keeps looking for that guy, hoping that somehow he'd send him a free bat.
Seriously, dude, can you buy those things in bulk? Because I'll get a 50-pound bag delivered here.
He loves animal crackers, my son.
It's more the volume I'm impressed with.
And you get the little heads off of the little feet, right?
No, go for the heads. Put them out of the misery. Jeez, what's wrong with you?
He's taking it seriously. Well, here's what I wanted to say. So I did a rant on Brad Stine Has Issues. I got some things I'm going to talk to you guys about the podcast moving forward into next year. But I did do a rant on Brad Stine Has Issues about Christmas. And I wanted to play it for you guys right now because I want you to think about it, I want you to hear about it, and then I'm going to use that as a catalyst to respond to something that I thought was important about this whole idea of Christmas and paganism. So, Wyatt, if you have it all queued up, if you would, please play the whole idea of Christmas. What's it called? How did I title it?
Stop Stealing Christmas?
Stop Stealing
Okay, good,
Christmas. Stop Stealing Christmas. So, son, hit that. You guys watch this, and then let's see if I can comment on it afterwards. Go ahead. Boom. I received an email from my son's high school involving a fundraiser. Now, normally I wouldn't admit this in public, but my son was in marching band. Actually, I'm joking. You know, my son's a great drummer, and I'm extremely proud of his gift and his nerdiness. But the reason I'm bringing this up is in that aforementioned email, they said they were selling holiday trees. We better get our order in fast. So I did immediately. I responded and said this, "Excuse me? Holiday trees? Did you mean Christmas trees? Please explain." Brad Stine. Funny, no matter how hard I searched the internet, I couldn't find any reference to a tree being used in December to celebrate Hanukkah, Ramadan, Kwanzaa, or winter solstice. You know why? Because it's a Christmas tree. Listen, if you want to make money off of my religious traditions, the least that can be expected is to dignify it by using it by its name. Either avoid all of what has become representative of Christmas elements like trees, lights, tinsel, garland, gifts, wreaths, Santa, mistletoe, little lifesaver novels, sleighs, jingling bells, caroling, and Aunt Ruth's fruitcakes that we've all been gifting for thinking years, and find your own stuff to hawk. Or call it by its rightful name. Throw it out to you guys. So I have all these people telling me that it's a pagan holiday, right? It's pagan. And the reason they claim it's pagan is because they say that the Catholic Church decided that they'd taken some pagan holidays, and they said, let's just put Christmas onto this day so that we can really kind of get all the pagans to worship all the same stuff at the same time, and then maybe they'll kind of cross over, I guess, and come into Christianity. And a lot of the elements that we use in our Christmas traditions, they say is pagan. And so consequently, they feel like you're doing a disservice to your faith and to Jesus because you're somehow acknowledging paganism. So the premise of that rant was this idea, and it's always bothered me from the get-go. When people stopped using Merry Christmas in the stores, and that, by the way, that's changed a little bit, right? I mean, I did see that after a couple of years of people complaining about it, it seemed like they did bring it back. And I've done, I don't know, 2 or 3 comedy rants on my albums about Christmas and about not saying Merry Christmas. It was one of my most famous rants that ended up on the Go Fish song, Christmas with a capital C, about people not wanting to say Merry Christmas. But as I've talked about it and brought it up over time, one of the things that bothered me was this, and we'll get to the pagan thing in a second, but here's what I think is more important. People said we don't want to emphasize Christmas, we don't want to say Christmas, because there's so many holidays in December. We don't want to leave anybody out. We don't want anybody to feel left out. We've got Kwanzaa, which is a racial holiday. It literally is. It's for black Africans. So that's even leaves people out. So that's not very an inclusive holiday. You have Hanukkah, which is for Jewish folks. So they certainly could care less if you want to celebrate with them, but it's basically a thousands of year old tradition for Jews, Hanukkah. There's also Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, which I think Canadians invented because they were perceiving that there might come a day in their country where they are boxed in and not allowed to leave because they don't have the proper vaccine. And so they created a holiday that one day, if they could ever use it to beat on those who are trying to steal their freedoms, they'd be prepared. And they could legitimize it by calling it a holiday.
I always thought Boxing Day was just meant to celebrate pro wrestling.
Wyatt?
Yeah?
That's a beautiful premise. But why in the world, how do you conflate wrestling where there is no punching?
There's totally punching in wrestling. Have you seen wrestling?
All right, fake punching. Okay, you're right.
Still counts.
God forbid that I put the kibosh on wrestling, because that's about as realistic as it gets.
Don't you knock on those wrestlers like Mr. T? Isn't he a wrestler?
I think like 50 years ago. So I don't know what. My son is 25 years old and he's drawing a reference from a guy that he's never even seen.
I know he was on the A-Team. I know that much.
He was.
Yes.
That was also like an 80s show. So how did you
And is there a problem with the 80s?
I just didn't know that you heard of the 80s.
Who hasn't heard of the 80s?
Just people that are numeral phobes.
Like me? Is that what you're saying?
You're not a numerophobe. You love your numerals. But here's what I was getting at. When they took down Merry Christmas, right, and they said, we want to celebrate Hanukkah, we want to celebrate Kwanzaa, we want to celebrate Ramadan, another one, that, of course, is Islamic holiday at the same time. They were trying to make the sense that we want everybody to be equally respected, which I have no problem with that. If you wanted to add some Ramadan elements, I don't even know what those are, but if you wanted to sprinkle those in, fine. If you wanted to put up a Hanukkah candle, be my guest, do whatever you want to do. It's your store. But here's what bothered me. They used nomenclature that was intentionally not Christmas, right? We're not going to say Merry. We're not going to say Christmas, okay? We don't want to isolate people. But when they would say Happy Holidays, the elements that they would use to give the sense, the DNA of the holiday right now that they don't want to mention, they would have red and green colors, Christmas. They would have tinsel, Christmas. They would have gifts, Christmas. They would have trees, Christmas. They would have bulbs, Christmas. They would have ribbons, Christmas. They would have Santa, Christmas. They would have white hats, Christmas. They would have elves, Christmas. They would have stockings, Christmas. They would have black boots with white felt around, fur around it, Christmas. They would have burning Yule logs, Christmas. They would have chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Christmas. They would have sleigh bells, Christmas. They would have reindeer, Christmas. Sleds. When's the last time, just curious, you got in a sled pulled by reindeer? I'm guessing probably not for a couple weeks. It is a complete and utter indicator of Christmas. My point was, we're going to strip the name away to show our woke inclusiveness. But every single image we will utilize to drive your appetite to come buy our stuff so we can make money and capitalize off of the capitalistic system that's created this opportunity of capitalism that allows us to make money off of a holiday that we don't want to mention, but we're going to use all of the artifacts that it gave us. That hypocrisy is what I was ranting about. If you don't want to include Christmas or find that somehow it's offensive to the 6% of people that don't celebrate it, don't use any of our trappings. Don't use any of our fixings. Don't use them. But you won't stop that because you will always be a hypocrite. You will always be a fraud. Wokeism, leftism is always what it does. It destroys everything it can, but it has nothing to fill the blanks in, so it has to once again parasitically steal from a beautiful tradition and leave whatever remnants they can left over. But let's remove Christmas because we're showing that we're really sensitive to everybody else. Bull pucky. Now, the people were complaining that all of these traditional elements that I just mentioned, or many of them, like the Christmas tree, were pagan. Maybe they were. I haven't done a lot of research on it. But here's the part I couldn't wrap my mind around. I saw one guy say, listen, you're worshiping a tree. I've never worshipped a Christmas tree in my life. You know what when I see a Christmas tree, you know what I see? Beautiful nature. That God invented, when I see the bulbs hanging from it and the tinsel, you know what I see? A representation of ice and winter and beauty of the color of the white snow that has drifted over it. And if you've ever lived in a state that gets thick snow on Christmas Day, it's beautiful, it's magical, it makes you feel alive. And not one time am I worshiping a ice crystal. Wyatt, have you ever found yourself tempted to worship an ice crystal?
Well, I mean, there was that Sonic ice, which is just magnificent. If there was any ice crystal I would be tempted for, it'd be that.
I gotta tell you, son, that's a good point. That's a good point. Just chewing on that ice.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
You know what I love about that ice?
What?
Melts in your mouth.
Well, I mean, all ice does, but it just does it so much quicker than the rest.
But with this different texture.
Yeah, it's like
almost like this
smooth.
velvet.
Yeah.
Can we call it velvet ice?
There's legally nothing stopping us.
There's my son, always looking at the legal ramifications. Well, look, I look at these trees, and especially, and when I grew up, we had real trees, chopped them down, stuck them in some water, and hoped and prayed that they didn't go on fire because somebody always burned their house down every year with a real tree. But the smell, why? Do you remember smelling? Because we would get real Christmas trees when we were in California. That's before California went crazy! Do you remember that we would bring home Christmas trees and do you remember that smell?
I think vaguely. That was a long time ago, and my smell memory isn't the best out there, but I think I do. It was sticky too, wasn't it? Like
it was sticky too.
And that's how you know it was good.
That's how you know it was good. It was sticky. My son remembers the stickiness, but not the olfactory gland reminiscing of the beautiful wafting of the new tree.
Well, to be fair, in this family, sticky is pretty traumatic.
Oh, it is. I hate sticky, by the way. I'm not going to tell you guys this because if I'm ever captured by my enemies, they'll know the worst thing they could do to me to make me talk. But the point I wanted to make is this. Those who say that the tree had a pagan origin, maybe it did. I say that Christmas redeemed it and returned it back to the remembrance that God created the natural order, that he created and allowed snow to drift. That's not only beautiful, but just sort of has this wonderful, unique, one-of-a-kind crystal that never repeats itself. Each one is, even though we'll never know it and needed microscopes to even know they looked the way they looked, we still realize that this was the God of creation that said, I can even make each one of these unique and never to be seen again, and I can do it forever. When I saw the colors, the beautiful lights that we'd put outside, and I put lights up on my house every year, the old C9s, I love the old-fashioned, beautiful blue colors. It just feels so warm. It feels so beautiful because God gave us colors. So everything that they want to, I'm not going to deny or tell you that historically maybe there weren't some pagan traditions that the Catholic Church came in and tried to sort of abscond and sort of give it a Christian tense to it, that they could sort of redeem it. But that's the point of Christianity, was to redeem that which was lost, to fix that which was broken, to heal that which was unhealthy, to bring beauty from ashes. So I don't understand those who are so adamant about making sure you don't celebrate Christmas, which is always thought of as Christ Mass, the birth of Christ, even if it wasn't on that day. I don't know the day he was born. You know what? I don't know what day George Washington was born, but he can still inspire me. I don't know what day, I don't know. I don't even know who else to pick. Abraham Lincoln was born. I don't know what day he was born. Don't care. He inspires me. I don't care what day Jesus was born. What I care about is that he did. He was born. And that's the beauty of it. So for all of you who are so adamant to try to make the rest of us say, don't celebrate Christmas, as though somehow there's something better to taking an opportunity for the name of Jesus to be spoken into the atmosphere, and let's strip it away. If you don't see that maybe there's something odd and counterproductive to that, I don't understand what you think you're accomplishing when everybody looks at the Christmas thing as though it has something to do with Christ. That's how they see it. That's how they feel. That's what they are being inspired by. What is wrong with that? And if you happen to be watching the video and you really feel like, no, I'm missing the whole point, feel free to comment, and maybe some of my people or myself or Wyatt, for that matter, because Wyatt works at Lowe's, so he has some education and insight a lot of us will never even begin to touch against. We'll talk about it. I don't have a problem with you disagreeing with me. I don't have a problem with you wanting to discuss it, but I want you to justify why removing Jesus' name from this one special day of the year that's celebrated around the world, you think is somehow doing a better service to his memory and to God's intervening into the human condition. Please explain that to me so I can understand where you're coming from. Why?
So,
what is your thoughts?
my thoughts are we have some explaining to do.
Okay.
Because Kit Kat, Sparrow, and a host of other people have no idea what we're talking about when we talk about the Sonic Ice.
Okay, if you guys have never gone to Sonic, it's a drive-through. It's kind of like a McDonald's, but you can still drive your car up and get them to come out in their skates and bring you the thing. I don't know if it may not be in the West. It's not in the West Coast. I don't think it's in California, the West Coast.
Yeah, I think it's more of an East Coast.
It might be
thing,
an East Coast or Southern thing. But anyways, that's all. And the ice is just really fine and crunchy, but it's not big. It's tiny little. Almost like
so the somebody else commented that it's apparently called nugget ice.
Nugget ice. That would sound.
I mean, it makes sense. Basically, imagine a tater tot. Imagine it like a fifth the size of normal, and imagine it being ice. That's basically what it is.
But it just crunches really good. I think they might give them that kind of ice in hospitals. As a matter of fact, now I think.
Oh, really?
I think so. Anyways,
yeah,
that's what he was talking about.
Yeah,
so,
that's what we're talking about. It's just nice ice.
I wanted to talk about that idea of what happens when people get so caught up in some sort of very specific viewpoint that they maybe miss the bigger picture. Now, I have another way to discuss that and to discuss the missing the bigger picture by talking about a song that we've all heard, we all sang, we all found it fascinating, and yet I found it problematic. I thought that there was something we were missing. And so I did a rant about it. And I want to show you that rant. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what people, some people commented on, just to show you how easy it seems to be in America, or probably anywhere, for people to miss the bigger picture. And the one thing they seem to miss with me, because they happen to know I'm a conservative, they happen to know I'm a Christian, I'm not apologizing for that, and it's part of my show. I think sometimes when I do my show, they miss the fact that maybe this guy's also a comedian. Just throwing it out there. I'm going to give you an example right now. Wyatt, if you can pull up Rudolph.
Yep,
we're going to reimagine Rudolph. I want you guys to watch this. And when it's finished, I'm going to tell you about some of the things that I've heard from people who found this a disturbing and inappropriate commentary. Wyatt, hit Rudolph. I don't mean literally, because I guarantee
that would kind of go against what you just said.
It would, so. And the SPCA would be all over.
All right, and...
Yep, it's me, God's comic Brad Stine on Brad Stine Has Issues. And of all the Christmas songs being sung this time of year, there's one that seems to be sending mixed signals. Stick around while I illuminate your foggy perceptions. You know, I came across a classic Christmas song the other day, and after examining the words, I've come to realize how easily humans accept ideas at face value without scrutinizing them for philosophical and or cultural flaws. The song I'm referring to, of course, is the nefarious Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Here are the lyrics with my copious notes. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Stop! First off, why bring up the red nose? If you have a red-nosed reindeer, it's fairly obvious, and social decorum would dictate you keep it to yourself to save the reindeer's embarrassment. We don't treat others that way normally. Who goes around introducing others like, hey, there's Jimmy, the pockmarked postman? Or, have you met Nancy, the lazy-eyed court reporter? No. No, in the past, the only time we emphasize the physical flaw in others is when we're trying to sell tickets to a sideshow. Now, I'm pro-sideshow, mind you, but looking for an alligator-skinned woman or a snouted man before plunking down good money? For red nose? Not so much. Had a very shiny nose. Wait a minute. You just told me in the first line it was red, not shiny. Ball bearings are shiny, patent leather shoes as well. Not necessarily a color. So which is it, red or shiny? And if you ever saw it, why would I? I don't need to since you already described it to me. You would even say it glows. Glows? The moon glows, candles glow. How could you possibly confuse a glow for red or shiny? Why can't you get your story straight? Who are you protecting? All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. Why not? He's a reindeer with an indecipherable nose issue. Something needs to be said. They never let poor Rudolph. Poor? How do you know? You have access to his tax returns? What, suddenly it's a class struggle? We have to play the poor card? Fear not, Rudolph. If a socialist ever seizes power in the U.S., redistributed wealth is coming. Playing any reindeer games. Does he care? What could a reindeer game consist of anyways? They have hooves, for Pete's sake. Hooves, not fingers, so that rules out board games that involve dice. Can't grip them. No ball games, can't hold a bat, catch a football, or dribble a basketball, or any charade, since it would be impossible for him to indicate how many words or syllables. Sounds like he's not missing much. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, huh? Foggy? Where? The North Pole? It's probably foggy a lot there, but are you saying the entire Earth got foggy on the same night? That sounds like the apocalypse to me. What's next? Locusts and boils? Santa came to say, finally, Santa shows up. Where was he all the times Rudolph was being ridiculed and in pain? Can anyone believe in a Santa that seems to ignore us in our darkest hour? Rudolph, with your nose so bright. Santa, please, keep up here. Are your options? They're simple. The nose is either red, shiny, or glowy, none of which fit the category of bright, or someone would have said so long ago during the reindeer mocking Rudolph sessions. Won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Let me get this straight. Santa spent a year using magic elves to build, paint, box, and wrap every possible gift imaginable, from Legos to tennis bracelets, yachts to laptops. He is able to pack every gift for every human on Earth in one sleigh and deliver it via chimney to every human on Earth in one night. But somehow, you were unable to fashion a couple headlights to your sleigh and needed to call on the freak. Then how the reindeer loved him. Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. When they hated and mocked him his whole life, and suddenly he's thrust into the spotlight, probably illuminated by his nose, to accomplish something these brats were incapable of, thus putting him in the category of Santa's favorite. Suddenly, they're all going to let bygones be bygones and embrace him as misunderstood, and they'll receive the revelation of their own arrogance and bullying and suddenly repent, asking his forgiveness, which he'll grant readily, as he is an enlightened soul. Who wrote this story? The Hallmark Channel? As they shouted out with glee. Glee? Who uses the word glee? Yeah, that's what the song was missing. An archaic word from 19th century romance novel to keep the song exciting. Rudolph the red, shiny, glowing, bright-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Why not? There's not a lot of competition for classic songs featuring reindeer. As a matter of fact, it may be the only reindeer song ever penned. The fact that he was genetically mutated just gave the song the conflict it needed to give it legs. By the way, just heard about a buffalo in Wyoming that was born with 2 heads, 6 legs, and it lived. Sounds to me like the making of a new Christmas song classic. Where's Mel Torme when you need him? This is God's Comic, Brad Stine. I hope you were deeply offended by that last one, because that's my Christmas gift to you. A helmet. Folks, I don't know how to say this, but a troll just informed me that Grandma got run over by a reindeer is in fact another Reindeer Song. Where in the world would we be? Because that's my Christmas gift to you.
All right, so here's the deal. I had started a blog years ago, and I wrote that particular blog on a whim because I just wanted to see if I could make fun of the Rudolph song. That was part of the fun, the creativity, the artistic acumen that a comedian has is privy to. That's kind of what we do, is we just try to find jokey things in places other people haven't found jokey things. And if you need to find a jokey thing, it's on aisle 14 at Lowe's. But I think you should understand that when I wrote it, I didn't know I was ever going to speak it or say it out, but I thought it was clever, and I actually tried it a couple of times on stage, and it kind of got some laughs. But I decided to make a rant out of it, and that's what I did. So I put it on the Brad Stine Has Issues. Well, as I played it for people, I got some people speaking, in the thread, and some laughed, and some didn't, and some of this and that. But I had a couple guys who were very offended, literally. And they said, why would you take a child's song and just decimate it? Why would you take the fun out of this beautiful opportunity for children just to laugh and just let things be? And they took it so seriously. And it made me realize something about the dilemma, the challenge that I have as a conservative, as a Christian, as a comedian, is that I am taken seriously sometimes when I should be given the pass that I'm maybe I'm joking. Maybe when I'm talking about Rudolph the Freak and the glowy nose and Santa could create presents for the whole world, but he couldn't rig up headlights. That's kind of funny to me. And they take it seriously and personally. I've seen over and over again people condemning me and mocking me and ridiculing me because I'm not behaving like a Christian, or I'm being mean-spirited or whatever. And I realize they're watching a comedy clip. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I've created a character that delivers this sort of energetic, angry, aggressive comedy, and they're taking it like I'm supposed to be some sort of sweet, meek pastor. Wyatt, have you ever thought of me as being meek?
Meek? No. Many other things, but not meek.
Let's think of two.
Ooh, things to describe you. Oh, where do I begin?
Any word would work.
Okay, why don't I just use the comment by Samuel Dayan, who called you historical.
Historical?
Yes. So I guess, just like Rudolph, you'll go down in history.
Aw, thank you.
I think you meant to say hysterical.
Okay.
But
okay.
Just in case.
Well, maybe he meant historical.
I mean,
maybe he believes that I do the research. I try to give you guys some good old-fashioned backstory about culture at large, and maybe it's exactly what he meant, Mike. I don't know. But what I want you guys to know is that I have this odd dance that I have to dance with this podcast, because you're seeing me live. You're seeing me behind the curtains. And not really, obviously, because if you saw me behind the curtains, I'd be in my underpants. That's not an image anybody would want to view and keep their sanity. But I thought I'd often ask myself, why would you want me to do this thing, this podcast thing or whatever? I mean, there's plenty of guys better at this than me and whatever. But I think what I'm learning about all of this is that humor and comedy is so essential in America right now. Well, around the world, but in America right now, because I'm an American. I live in America. I was born in America. I'm an American citizen, and like my son, who was born on the Nile, but I consider this my territory that I need to defend, and so I try to be funny and humorous. But I want to talk about things. I have deeper things that matter to me. I wish I could simply just try to do funny stuff and get laughs and be Jim Gaffigan and be Nate Bargatze and be Brian Regan and just be funny for funny's sake. And I can't! I have things that I have to talk about that bother me. And even if it's doing a joke about Rudolph and realizing how everybody's taking it so seriously, and I'm not apologizing, I'll never apologize. The moment somebody tries to woke me, I will decimate them. I will go down, I promise you, with both guns blaring. I will not be enslaved by anybody that has the audacity to think they can steal my liberties because they don't like to hear what I have to say. You don't deserve the dignity of even being considered worthy of an encounter of actual discourse, because you're a tyrant. And no tyrant, no totalitarian, no despot deserves respect. You're evil. I cannot not joke because I've been given that DNA. It's kind of like that famous saying that you all heard if you ever watched that award, Academy Award winning picture, Chariots of Fire, and Eric Liddell is talking about wanting to race in the Olympics, and his sister wants him to go be a missionary in China, and he does that famous scene where he says this, and I've heard it quoted a million times because it's beautiful. He said, I believe God made me for a purpose, for China, but he also made me fast. And when I run, I can feel his pleasure. God made me for a purpose, for America, for free people around the world, for those who want to have liberty and free speech and free conscience. He made me for a time where we won't allow people to tell us what we have to inject in our body, what we must wear on our faces, how some elected official believes literally that they get to rule me like this is some monarchy. No, we dumped that 250 years ago. You don't get to rule me by the means that you happen to be of the bloodline of people that haven't really earned anything for quite a few hundred years. You don't rule me. You're not my ruler. You're not my leader. You represent me because I'm the government. I'm an American. We the people. You're the government.
All right,
So hang on.
Okay.
So he made me for a time like this, for freedom, for liberty, for fighting the good fight. But he also made me funny. And when I try to bring laughter and shatter taboos and push against the envelope to make a point that matters, I can feel his pleasure. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Next year, we are going to try to move this podcast into the next phase, to see if we can turn this into something more significant, more important, because we're going to talk about the important questions. What actually matters in life? What really matters? And that might have to do with conservative values as opposed to leftist values. It might have to do with believing in God as opposed to not believing in God. It might have to do with making fun of things that need to be made fun of, because those things, if they're not made fun of, will eventually rule you. That's what they're shooting for. History doesn't have to repeat it so we can see what's going on. There's always a certain few that anoint themselves to steal from the rest of us and rule us. That can't happen on our watch without a fight. White, did you want to make a comment?
I was just going through the comments, and I found another one that it's a unfortunate mishap with spelled correct, but it also actually does have something to do
what
with
does it say?
it. So unedited, the comment is Pepple wants to be offended, makes them feel like a vitamin, and gives them show social status. Now, of course, that's funny on its own because, you know.
Can you interpret that for me, son?
All right, so people want to be offended because it makes them feel like a victim and it gives them a special social status.
Right, that's true.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
That's what's true. That's what wokeism is. That's what identity politics is. It gives you social status and you're given a special significance to feel good about yourself because you've been so victimized. It is the sickest, most sociopathic view of how to live a life that I've seen in my lifetime. And it's taken over everything. It's taken over freedom and liberty. It's taken over Christmas. It's taken over Easter. It's taken over free speech. It's taken over college campuses where we were supposed to be able to think freely. It's taken it all over. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago I played a song, Christmas with a capital C. And that song was using a rant from my show, Put a Helmet On. And from that, I told you guys, a movie was made. Now, many of you maybe have never seen it. You can watch it right now. It streams on the PureFlix channel, if you have that. But Wyatt, I decided I wanted to show these people who didn't think I was telling the truth. They didn't think I really was in a movie, and I've been in over 20. But this was from Christmas with a capital C. This was a clip of the actual original trailer for the movie. So you might want to look it up and watch it during this Christmas week. Buy it on PureFlix, or you can buy it on the DVD on Amazon. But it's about political correctness and Christmas. And it all came from a rant that I put a helmet on, that ended up on a song, that ended up on radio, that ended up on YouTube, that ended up in a movie that we filmed for 3 weeks in Seward, Alaska. It was a beautiful experience. Wyatt, play the trailer to Christmas with a capital C.
Will do. Will do as soon as the button will function.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm clicking the button to make it happen and it's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was working before I started this, and every other button on every other thing is working fine. It's just this one.
What you will find if you're newcomers to the podcast is my son blames buttons a lot.
Okay, it also doesn't help that we have this stupid pop-up that keeps showing up, and it just so happens to be positioned right over the thing.
So let me ask you this, son, so that we don't continue to look even more like idiots. Is this not going to go? Because if not, then I'll just move
it. It should go. I'm trying to get rid of all the pop-ups and seeing if they're like invisibly blocking it. I'm sorry, there was no way I could have fixed this because how do you fix a pop-up getting in the way?
Okay, well.
That won't come away.
Anyways.
Please.
It's okay. It's okay. It looks as though we're not going to be able to play.
Got it.
Has this like shared experience of peace and hope for the future. I'll raise a cup to you, Trapper Falls. Merry Christmas!
But that's all about to change.
Someone new moving into town?
Look at this.
Well, if it isn't the Reed brothers, I've been looking for you boys.
Mitch Bright stopped by town today.
High school Mitch Bright?
You had a high school rival? So what did you guys compete over?
Football, basketball, mom. I won that one.
Why would he come back here after so many years? What's he after?
A formal complaint has been filed about the town Christmas decorations.
Who filed this complaint? The Grinch?
Mitch Bright.
Now to save Christmas.
Joe, what are you doing? Season's greetings?
It works for everybody.
Doesn't work for me.
He hates God. He doesn't want equal representation of religion. He wants none.
You really care about City Hall decorations?
I do have a problem with Christmas. And all the rest of the garbage you Christians have been jamming down my throat since I was a kid.
Dan must save his job.
You want to run for mayor of this town, try to change it? You go ahead, try it.
Get the help of his friends.
Mitch Bright has a personal vendetta against me.
You can't have a religious display on the site. Honey, please come down.
Back off!
We are not going to cave in.
and the love of his family.
Moving the Christ child does no harm to his reputation. Perhaps you are more concerned about yours.
To defend the reason for the season.
It's not going anywhere.
You heard what the judge said, Dan.
That doesn't mean that you could ruin Christmas for everybody else here. I'm not gonna let you hold this town hostage.
Ted McGinley.
Just because God's out of vogue in the big city doesn't mean we throw him away like last summer's fashion magazine.
Brad Stine.
Christians happen to have started the United States of America.
Nancy Stafford.
We spent less time worrying about our rights and more time worrying about others' needs. I think we might actually be doing Christmas.
And Daniel Baldwin.
American culture is not limited to this small town bubble that you live in.
Sometimes what really needs saving is the human heart.
A little angel told us that you didn't get a proper welcome when you came to town. Thought we better take care of that.
And the true spirit of Christmas.
Christmas starts with a capital C. Christ the Lord is the center of Christmas. Not our rights, not our tradition, none of that matters if it starts to detract us from the one whose birth we celebrate.
Christmas with a capital C. Coming soon.
So, as I said, I am a equal opportunity performance artist. I have always been interested in acting. It was actually one of the first things that I was interested in. Can you guys see me?
Yes, they can see you. It's just,
okay.
Again, that stupid...
Oh, there it is. So I wanted you guys to see that because I wanted you to see what occurred from a rant, of a comedy rant about political correctness and not saying Merry Christmas, to a sample onto a song that became a big hit on the radio and then got like 15 million hits on YouTube. And then from that, when PureFlix came to talk about a film, to my manager, he said, have you seen this Christmas capital C thing? And from that, they created and wrote an entire screenplay about it, and we went to Alaska and filmed it, and it's kind of become a perennial. It's a cool a film, and it's a beautiful film about... I liked the idea in the movie that they didn't try to make everything tie up with a bow like they tend to do in Christian movies, where everything is perfect and the field goal always goes through and the touchdown is always made and everybody always wins and the cancer always goes away. Sometimes it doesn't. And Nancy Stafford, who's a wonderful woman and a wonderful actress you saw, had my favorite line in the film where she said, maybe if we weren't so concerned about our rights and our getting what we want, maybe we'll actually be doing Christmas. And I think that's kind of what I want to leave you with now, because we're getting to the end of the line here of the podcast. So far, the podcast has stayed an hour long, and it's very possible that next year we'll go a little bit longer. Maybe we'll go an hour and a half and just try it out. I want to get some guests in, and I want to be able to interview interesting people that have more to talk about than I do, that are smart. And so I don't know everything. And I'm not a genius. And I'm just a comedian. And I'm just an actor. And I'm just a father. And I'm just a man, a husband. I'm an American.
Christ follower, so many of us live our lives just to endure, to exist. We get up and we have breakfast and we go to work and we try to get along with everybody and we take a lunch break and we come back and we have some dinner and maybe see the kids and go see the basketball game or the play, and then they go to bed and we hope that they're going to be safe and healthy and they're going to go off, and you get your paycheck and you just kind of keep doing it over and over again. And it's so easy to live a life as though you're just some sort of Darwinian organism that accidentally popped onto this perfectly tuned universe that allows biological life to exist. And we many don't maybe think that's true, but we act like it is. We act like just surviving and just trying to stay alive and healthy is why we're here. And that doesn't have deeper meaning. It doesn't have ultimate beauty and purpose. Because we're gonna die. Everybody watching me right now, you're terminally ill, so am I. But for a they existed, but they were here. And they looked at the stars in the skies and they wondered what it's all about. It's never changed. It's never changed. We can't run from the fact that we want something bigger and better. There's got to be more. Because when life goes to the end, and oftentimes you live in a miserable life, maybe you've had a hard life, and you just feel like life has beat you down and it doesn't have any deeper value, and it's really been a hell for you on earth. And yet, suddenly you find out you're about to die, and you're like, oh no, give me more time. To do what? To just complete the cycle that was a hamster wheel that didn't get anywhere? Christmas is going to be this Saturday. And you can sit there and you can spend your time deciding that it used pagan symbols and so it shouldn't be celebrated. You can spend your time as an atheist saying there is no God, Jesus wasn't God, and he didn't exist. It makes a nice little sentiment, and yeah, I give some gifts, but there really isn't any purpose. You're just going to live and die, and that's that. That's what they have. But I want to say to you guys, there's no religion, there's no holiday of any other belief system throughout history that has ever become so universal in handing people of every walk of life, of every religious persuasion or no religious persuasion, of every age, gender, every culture, when they're handed this gift called Christmas, that there was a moment when God Almighty, who created everything, pierced through this little snow globe he created and said, I want to join you in the thing that I created. I want to become you. I want to show you what love looks like. That it is so amazing that I don't just make you and then hope that you do the best you can and I'll bail you out maybe if you just worship me enough. But I'm certainly here to destroy you the moment I can and to bring hell onto your life. And if you get cancer, your kid dies or whatever, oh well. But that's not who he is. He said, I not only am going to feel what you felt, I'm going to become part of it. And I'm going to take your penalty of a game I created. So you can be with me forever. You will be with your Creator. That's what Christmas is representing. There was a moment that humanity was built around the transcendent perfection that is the Creator of all things. Didn't just get rid of humans. He said, I'm going to come down there and fix this for you so you can be with me. He loved us so much that he said, I'm not making a do-over. I chose humans. You're going to finish this out till the end. And I'm going to give you the option and the opportunity to know me forever. I said earlier that every one of you, including myself, my son, we're terminally ill. We're all going to die. That's a guarantee. But I got to tell you this, you're all going to live forever. That's also true, because you are not just biological. You have a spirit. You have a soul. He lives forever. I don't care if you don't believe it. I'm telling you what's happening. So if by God forbid you refuse to accept that, when you die, and you will, and you enter into that perfect domain where you're in front of the Creator, the ultimate energy, the ultimate intelligence, that ultimate thought, that ultimate logos, that mind Creator that actually made all this exist, and you will not argue with Him or complain there wasn't enough evidence. You will be on your face in terror because you are seeing pure power. And He wants to raise your chin up and say, you're my son, you're my daughter, come on in. But you had to choose to partner with Him on that. That's what Christmas is trying to remind you of. It's real. This isn't a legend. This isn't Zeus or Thor. This is a story that is unbelievable. God is real and He was here. Next year, as we try to move into a deeper growth of this podcast, as God chooses to, and people like you who've been here and helped me from the beginning, I think I'm going to rebrand it. I think I'm going to name the show the Stine Has Issues, because that was what my original podcast was going to be. That was the 7 to 10 minute rant you see. I think it's a more clever name than the Brad Stine Show. So I think we're going to rebrand that. We're going to get some kind of special backdrop. We're going to set up the cameras in here so I can have the live guests. I can tell you about that. We're going to try to bring in someone that can help with the research, have my son to help continue to do the production, but be my sidekick. We're going to see just how big this can get. Not for my sake, folks. I've told you this 1,000 times. I don't need this podcast. I got a career. I can go work. I can go make money. I can be on stage and have people laugh and think I'm amazing. I don't do this for my ego. I don't need to. I do it because I think I'm supposed to. Because you told me I was. Because you're the ones that said there's something here that we need. There's something here America needs. There's something here that people need. There's something here that humans need. What you're saying has value. Well, if that's true, then God has decided to do that through me. So here I am. I'm going to have all kinds of hybrid mix of conservatism and Christianity and laughter and taboo breaking and pushing the envelope and irreverence with deep reverence. That's what I'm doing because I guess I'm supposed to do this. If you want to give before the year's out, to be my guest, just tell us that you're interested in donating to this ministry, which it is. It is a tax deductible because it's a non-profit. I'm trying to just speak inspiration and hope to people around the world that need to know that there's something better out there, that they have a meaning and a purpose in their life, that it isn't for naught, that they will and can see loved ones again, that there is something greater to all of this. There's a purpose for all of this, that you instinctively know it's what we're all searching for. If I continue, as C.S. Lewis said, to paraphrase, look for something on this earth I can't find, perhaps it's because I was designed for a different earth, a different land, a different place. I'll be here next Monday, which will be, I guess, the last week of 2021. We're going to try to see where we can go with this and what we can do with it. going to fight for your freedom, for your liberties, for your faith, for your religious conscience. I don't care if you are from around the world. As you see, I get people that reach and watch me from there. You're a human. That makes us connected. We're made in the image of God. That's what Christianity is given, by the way, the world. It's the only one that taught us all of us are equal and have access to the same Creator. I'm going to continue to do live events. You're going to hear more and more about these because I got a lot coming up next year, especially. I want you to come see me. I'd love to see you guys and meet more of you than just Karen and some of the other. It was wonderful to meet her and the few people that have come out. Stan, I think, came out. But I'd love to see any of you. Go to bradstine.com and see where I'm working. I'm going to be in California, San Diego on New Year's Eve. You can come see the show. I'm also going to be January 2nd in Fresno at the historic Wilson Theater. Folks, I got some work to do until God takes me home. But I want you to know that I appreciate you guys going with me this long. We got one more week left for this year. Let's see what could come from this crazy show that it started on my lap in my office. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I want you to know that I'm grateful that you show up on Mondays. PC free is liberty.